Welcome back to the Identity Jedi Show, the final one of the year as we get ready to wrap up 2022. Listen, I know we missed the one from December. There's a reason for that. I'm going to explain it and tell you kind of the new format and things that we're going to be doing. So, listen, it's been a great year in identity. It's been an awesome year for just kind of putting this together, right? I've enjoyed putting this together and the newsletter for everybody. So what's going to be happening going forward? I'm doing something special. So this week we're going to be dropping a different Identity Jedi show. So you're getting this video today here on Monday, December 19th. But the rest of the week, I'm going to be dropping the different interviews that I've done for this Identity Jedi show, talking about privileged access management. That's our theme for this week, but also kind of giving you some more updates about what's going on, right? So I'm taking the Identity Jedi show, I'm combining that with the Identity Jedi newsletter, and we're going to have one format, one place to kind of get all of this content. You're going to have access to these interviews and these videos, to podcasts that will be a part of the Jedi newsletter as part of the premium subscription. So you can still get access to those. You just sign up at theidentitijedi.com, sign up for the premium subscription, you'll still get access to this. So still going to be the great content that you love in the newsletter. You're still going to get access to these. It's just going to be kind of behind the premium content. Look, folks, it's a lot of stuff, right? A lot of work, put all this stuff together. Got to be able to, at least pay some of the overhead costs, things of that nature. But let's do a recap of this year, right? It's been a very interesting year in identity, right? If you're going to look back on 2022, look, the big thing that sticks out at first is you can't talk about the impact that the PE firms have had on this year, right? Specifically, Thoma Bravo. I spent a lot of time in probably one of the first Identity Jedi episodes kind of talking about this as their spending spree throughout the identity industry. They purchased Ping, they purchased Cellpoint. And look, truth be told, I think there's probably still going to be some more purchases we'll see from that group and other PE firms coming into 2023, because this was the kind of the start of the official start of the platform wars. I've said that before, where we knew we were in this pendulum swing where we're going from best of breed to back to all-in-one and creating suites. We saw this kind of playing about from vendors having tighter integrations, but really it's from a customer ask perspective. Customers were looking at this, and identity is all these complicated niche things that need to talk together. And it was really hard to get all of your identity objectives done with just one tool. And so we knew that this integration was going to start happening. We knew that it was going to swing us back to offering suites. We kind of saw that with Thoma Bravo jumping in, buying these different, organizations. Again, they haven't come out and said that they're going to combine the two, but if we kind of look at it and play it forward, it kind of makes sense. But also we had, big players. We had Oktas, we had the CyberArks making plays to continue to pull out their suite. Okta announced their IGA and PAM. They delivered both of those this year. One Identity has always been there with an IGA product, an SSO, and maybe a little bit of privileged access management. And I think the thing that you're going to see, especially with privileged access management, is that it's going to change from what we know and love of the old kind of vaulting technology. You're going to get a lot of this just-in-time kind of technology, no standing privilege access. So that way, tools such as these other suites can kind of offer some privilege access management needs, maybe not quite the full-blown privilege access management. And so going into next year, right, as everybody's going to start kind of making their predictions, what I'm going to predict is that what we'll start to see is as these suites start to come out, we're going to start to get a feel for what are the key features that we really need for each individual niche area, right? What's the key thing I need from an SSO product? What's the key thing I need from an IGA product? What's the key thing I need from a PAM product? Because these suites aren't going to be able to give you the depth that best of breed gives you, right? That was the whole reason why we switched to best of breed so many years ago, is because we wanted depth in features. So it's going to be interesting. I think next year we're going to see that kind of play out, right? This was the year of announcing the platform wars. People put out their platform, what's there. And I think next year we're going to see that kind of go to market, and we're going to get the reaction from the customers, right? We're going to start to understand exactly what features are actually needed. The other thing we saw was it's beginning, the identity is kind of making its next evolution cycle as we start to look at most of the key vendors now are using technology that's pretty well over a decade old, right? Some of the bigger boys have made some inroads and making some acquisitions to kind of get them some newer technology. But for the most part, we're dealing with mostly older technology stacks. We started to see some smaller vendors start to come into space. So you think your Authamize, your Balkan IDs, your just recently Axiom and their IAM DevOps, as they're starting to take a look at this space and say, hey, look, if I can build on today's technology and truly leverage things like machine learning and AI and analytics and the things that I understand from how to deliver software and what the real pain points are, how would I do this differently? right? Really focusing on cloud first companies, right? Where you don't have some of these legacy technologies, some of these legacy business processes that you have to change over. And so that's going to be very interesting to see over the next year. I don't think next year we'll quite see the jump in that disruption yet. I think we'll continue to see that laid out. Some of these little players still have a lot of things they have to figure out and really understand their niche and show the value that they can bring based onto the other bigger companies that we have out there that are offering these solutions. And of course, the other thing when we look back at this year, it's kind of hard to recap and just not look at the overall macro environment of the year. Like this was a tough year economically as we're starting to kind of take the shift. The R words being thrown around, financial analysts refuse to say it, some are, but the fact of the matter is we saw the markets take a turn, which means that affects everything, right? Budgets are starting to get cut. Budgets are starting to get shrinked. We saw a lot of layoffs in the tech industry. And so when things start to constrict and you don't have as much money as you could spend on things, you don't have as many resources, you're going to really start to depend on your technology to do exactly what it's supposed to do, which is to help you handle these things, right? To do more with less. And that's going to be a big rallying cry that I'm seeing we're going to get from our customers to the vendors and kind of making these products. And so we're going to see how the industry kind of plays to that, right? So listen, we also had an entry into authorization. Man, authorization as a platform has been kind of making its way out for the, I would say like the last 2 or 3 years. And this year we saw more entrants coming into this space. I think this is going to be something next year that will continue to have. I don't know if it'll really step out. I'll go out on a limb and say that it won't have a breakout year next year, but I do think it's going to be involved a lot more in the conversation. But it's going to be very interesting as, again, we're seeing this consolidation happening. So we're seeing more suites being put out. Where does authorization fit in that? It's going to be a key piece if you're truly trying to build something that's zero trust architecture, really more of a dynamic architecture where you don't have to have so many bodies and you can do things based on policy and make automation rules. Authorization is going to be a huge part of that. So we're going to see how the market responds to that. I predict that we'll see an uptick in authorization play. I think these companies will start to be a little bit more well known as it comes into the picture, but I think it's going to be a little rough for them to really choose their breakout year because of the fact they're standalone platforms. And at this point, when you're starting to consolidate everything else, it's really going to be hard for that pitch to say, here's a standalone platform that I can do just this one thing. So that, my friends, is it. I've got some great interviews lined up for you this week. I do want to apologize for one. I had an interview with Lance Peterman about privileged access management. The audio was horrible on my part. I tried to clean it up as best as I can, so I do apologize for that. But I do want to get out there. Lance had some really good information out there. And so as long as Lance is talking, pay attention to Lance because he's got the good information. Whenever I'm talking, there's just some bad audio connection. So, but hey, still going to get out there. Lesson learned. I was mobile. I will have my mobile mic kits with me going from now on to make sure every time we get something like that, we're having good quality for you. So pay attention to the drops. It's going to be coming every day this week. We're going to be dropping something different, different interviews for the Identity Jedi Show, everything down to 20 minutes or less, just so, you have everything. You don't have to sit here for an hour and you can really start to enjoy the time. It's the holiday season. You're probably sipping on your hot tea or your hot cocoa, getting ready to go enjoy the time with the family. You can just put this on for 20 minutes, watch this and enjoy. So that is it. That's it. That's how we're going to kick off the Identity Jedi Show week. Newsletter comes out on Wednesday. Interviews dropping every day this week. I'll be making posts. We'll have in shorts, just flooding you with information for this week because after that, I am shutting it down, people. And we will see you in 2023. Be safe out there.